Imagine you need to extract highly guarded information from someone who has every reason to keep their mouth shut. Our first instinct is usually to start an interrogation, but the moment you start asking direct, pointed questions, the target's brain detects a threat. Those questions trigger subconscious security alarms, and the mental walls immediately go up. Intelligence operatives use a completely different approach to bypass these defenses. It's a formalized psychological workaround known as elicitation. The core mechanic requires discipline. You have to completely abandon questions and replace them entirely with carefully calculated statements. When executed correctly, elicitation is practically invisible. It doesn't feel like an interrogation. It feels like a casual, natural conversation, pulling data right past the brain's defenses by exploiting basic human ego flaws. The first major vulnerability we all share is the overwhelming compulsion to correct the record. When we hear false information, our brains desperately want to fix it. Let's test this in a grocery store. If you walk up to an employee stocking produce and ask how much they make, they'll likely ignore you. But if you casually mention you read an article claiming all employees just got bumped up to $26 an hour, the dynamic flips. They will instinctively correct your false statement by telling you their real, lower wage. They feel like they are educating you, completely unaware they were just pumped for data. This exact mechanism has been used against high-value targets for decades. In the early days of the Cold War, American military assets frequently docked in Southeast Asian port cities. Soviet intelligence operatives would wait in local bars, targeting young, off-duty U.S. Navy sailors who had their guard down after a long deployment. A spy in an Aloha shirt would strike up a conversation and casually drop a wildly inaccurate claim. They'd say something like, "German submarines easily outrun you because their propellers are 22 feet wide, and yours are only 18. Driven by pride, the sailor would instantly fire back to set the record straight, blurting out the highly classified dimensions of their own submarine's propeller to prove the stranger wrong. The human desire to be correct is so powerful, it can effortlessly override strict military training and basic common sense. The second vulnerability relies on skepticism. When met with outright disbelief, the human ego reflexively moves to defend its position and prove its reality. If a friend returns from a trip and you remark that their vacation sounded 100% flawless and unchallenged, they will instinctively push back. To prove reality isn't perfect, they will immediately start leaking private struggles and challenges they otherwise would have kept entirely private. Intelligence gatherers formalize this into a technique called bracketing. Imagine a corporate operative trying to lock down a highly guarded company move date. They casually suggest the move is between March and May. The target corrects them, February. The operative feigns disbelief, claiming a February move is impossible due to cold weather and high interest rates. The target corrects them again, revealing the actual timeline, April. By feigning disbelief, you force the target to dig into their own classified intelligence, using it as a shield to defend their ego. The third vulnerability stems from our innate desire for social continuity. We are wired to keep conversations flowing comfortably and to fill awkward silences. You can exploit this using a technique called recapping. Instead of using interrogative words like who or what, you use leading statements that begin with phrases like I bet or so. If you sit down across from someone and simply state, I bet you hate that coffee, it forces the other person to take the wheel of the conversation. Even a simple yes is a concession of data. To maintain the social rhythm, they will naturally elaborate, telling you exactly how they prefer their coffee and why. When a target feels they are the one driving the conversation, they willingly volunteer details they would normally protect from a direct interrogator. This chart shows the direct relationship between conversational tactics and intelligence gathering. The golden rule is clear. The more sensitive the information you need, the fewer questions you should be asking. Everyday conversations are rarely passive exchanges of words. They are active landscapes of psychological triggers, constantly testing our boundaries. By utilizing these techniques, you have a method to gather valuable business or personal intelligence seamlessly, without ever seeming intrusive. More importantly, you have the awareness to recognize when someone else is attempting to bypass your own internal security alarms. So the next time a stranger at a bar makes a wildly inaccurate statement, pause before correcting them. They might just be waiting for you to fall into the trap.